Good morning. Today's passage is in Mark 14, verses 43 to 52. It's a story of two betrayals of Jesus, firstly by Judas Iscariot, and secondly by the rest of the disciples. Judas's betrayal is particularly nasty. He enters the garden with a gang armed with clubs, but his purpose is purely to point out Jesus and have him arrested and handed to the authorities. He does it with a kiss, as if he was being an open friend. There is honour in public, but dishonour in private. The disciples start off slightly better than Judas in that they show us some strength and support for Jesus. And one of them takes out a sword and cuts off the ear of the servant of the high priest. But in verse 50 it says, "Then everyone deserted him and fled." So the disciples too left Jesus. I think we could look at both these betrayals and be quite judgmental about them, but I think we need to be careful. Some of us maybe sometimes show public honour for Jesus, but in private are we doing the same thing? Judas was disappointed. Jesus was not the kind of Messiah who met his expectations. If Jesus doesn't meet our expectations, do we sometimes turn away from him? The disciples also are not a good example at this point, in that they have promised loyalty, but actually when the chips are down and the crowd is against Jesus, they melt away because they are afraid of what's going to happen to them. And the same can happen to us. If we are in a crowd where everyone else is against Jesus, how will we respond? I was reminded of the story of Martin Luther, who was summoned to the Diet of Worms in 1521 to give an account of himself after the Pope had excommunicated him for his biblical heresy. Amazingly, Luther stood there knowing that the whole might of the Holy Roman Empire and of the papacy was against him, and yet he said, "Here I stand, I can do no other." His loyalty to Jesus and his commitment to him are a great example to us all. Amen.